Connecting the Dots, Reliving Northwoods History with Carrie Bladorn.
Many of our Northwoods communities thrived in large part due to the development of railroads. At one time, just about every town in Wisconsin was connected by a rail line, some for passengers, some for freight, some to assist a particular industry, such as mining or logging. As private automobiles, public roads, and trucking got more efficient, railroads became less useful, and we saw the decline of this once great means of transportation. But long after much of the steel was pulled from their beds, evidence of Northwoods railroad history is hiding all around us, some in plain sight and some under mud and water. Today, we'll check out a couple of sites where railroad equipment was abandoned and remains today. Otter Lake in Elko, Wisconsin was once home to the Fish Lumber Company. Pilings of the old rail line that brought logs to the mill are still seen. Logs were dumped from rail cars into the water before being pulled into the sawmill. On one occasion, the log train backed up a little too far and trucks from a log car plummeted into the water. The company decided not to retrieve the equipment, and so it remains today, used as fish habitat at the end of a ghost trestle about 100 years later.
These railroad trucks at the bottom of Otter Lake are in about 6 to 8 feet of water. Covered in algae, the fish don't seem to mind the extra structure at the bottom of the lake. Notice the flange on the rail wheel. Other parts of the trucks are sunk below the mud. A little further south of Otter Lake, near Kempster, Wisconsin, once connected by the Chicago Northwestern Railroad, an accident occurred in 1964, where a derailment of iron ore cars left many of them stuck in the railside swamp. The mangled cars were cut apart to clear the line for service, but some of the cars, not worth the time and effort to free them from the suction of the swamp, were left in the mud. Covered under decades of dirt, debris, and tree growth, evidence of this derailment is barely visible from the old rail bed. But if you know where to look, and look closely, parts of the old rail cars are still peeking out through the undergrowth just north of Kempster. Now we go north to the Harshaw, Wisconsin area, where history meets mystery on the Bearskin Trail. This grade was once the Milwaukee Road. An old legend talks of a locomotive that derailed here in the early 1900s and sunk into the adjacent swamp, unable to be recovered. Stories about abandoned rail equipment and sunken train engines abound in the Northwoods. Some can be visited, and some relegated to campfire tales. But whether it's railcar trucks or stories of sunken engines, northern Wisconsin's hidden railroad history is all around us, maybe some of which is still waiting to be discovered. I'm Carrie Bladorn, and this is Connecting the Dots, Reliving Northwoods History on Newswatch 12. Connecting the Dots, Reliving Northwoods History with Carrie Bladorn. Maybe you know about some hidden history, have a story or topic you'd like to see covered on the program, and I'd love to hear about it. If you do, find me on Facebook, Carrie Bladorn, Northwoods Historian, or shoot me an email, northwoodshistorian@gmail.com. Thanks for watching Connecting the Dots, Reliving Northwoods History on Newswatch 12.